Hello, Mother Fathers. Welcome in. It is another edition of Kyle Reacts. This time we are talking about WWE NXT here on this Tuesday. I think it's the 15th of July, 2025. Man, this year's flying by. I'll tell you what. Pardon the fat hair, bedhead, whatever. But let's dive right in to the NXT card for this evening. Some things we liked, some things we did not like. I'm going to start, obviously, with the few things that I liked. First off, this has been a hell of a week for women, with an exception, which we'll talk about in a second. So, I'm really impressed with Jacy Jane and that group, and did not and have not watched a lot of Masha Slamovich. Obviously, TNA, we just don't watch the show. Talented, and she's physical, and you can tell. I heard Jordynne had some good matches, and again, speaking of Jordynne, we'll get to her in a second. But, yeah, I was just really impressed with her. And with the group, I think Sol Ruca probably is up there, rising star in this entire industry. Also, big shout out during the show, too. It was a short segment, but Lash Legend had a great evolution in that Battle Royal, finished runner-up, obviously, to Stephanie. But Jada Parker, too. Everyone knows how I feel about Jada and what she's able to do, and the kind of charisma she brings, the energy she brings to NXT, and obviously people were chanting for it, man. So I tell you what, I mean, that's two more stars. This division is just so deep, and there's so much going on. It's all so great. You just love to see that, and I was really impressed with all of that. The last thing, too, I'll say on the good side. There was a bunch of good things tonight, but the one cool thing that was kind of nice, and I'm sure Double A's had his problems with it, but the final battle of the family, the way they set it up throughout the evening with Tony D'Angelo getting a win, spearing Stacks through the damn wall, throwing him out like he was a cartoon character, like he was about to go chest first on a slip and slide, like he was 10 years old. It was wild. That was a really cool match that had a nice fitting ending, and obviously that means different directions for those three, which again I'm sure my broadcast partner would appreciate, but I enjoyed them actually really setting it up and kind of detailing it more, and that's why we're obviously very excited for now what's next. And Tony D, we've been looking for someone for Oba, and he's going to have this triple threat match next week with Josh Briggs and this other dude. I think his name is Yoshi. I don't know. I still haven't learned his name. Inamura or whatever it was. That's one of the things I didn't like. They just have too many stars in the mid-card right now. That makes sense. Ricky Saints, Ethan Page being two of them, and then obviously Jasper Troy was in and out. He's still this LFG kid, so you don't know what you're getting out of him. Javon Evans was already involved, so now he's kind of in no man's land, unfortunately. Ricky makes the most sense. One of those guys makes the most sense to take the title off Oba at some point, but he may never lose. I don't know. I'm not worried about either one of those people next week against Oba Femi, and that's part of the problem. I mean, even if they 2-on-1'd him, I still don't think they could beat him. So, I don't know. That's just me. The other thing I wasn't a huge fan of, and I like Jordynne being upset and coming out and having the anger. No Blake Monroe at the arena. She's going to be in Houston next week. That's the big show. They're traveling. Of course, it's going to make a lot of sense to save her debut for a major show like that. I get it. I understand it. It just still doesn't feel... There's something that feels a little off. And the fact that Jordynne hasn't been able to pick up a signature win other than obviously advancing to Evolution to face Jacy Jane in her time at NXT, and it feels like this is going to be her last feud. I think that she's not going to put Blake Monroe over, right? I mean, she's not going to go over Blake Monroe. They're going to put over the person they're going to eventually push to be champion. It feels like she's not going to have a lot of momentum going into the main roster. She's got a name. She's been able to work a lot and do a lot of great things for women, but I'm concerned about the future of Jordynne Grace because she's about to lose another feud, most likely. And then what's next? I mean, if she goes to the main roster, why should I believe she can beat anybody? When she's been losing the majority of her matches and feuds in NXT despite being put, and honestly truly is one of the bigger stars. It's kind of strange. And part of that too is who she's facing and when and circumstances. I get all that, but it's hard to build sympathy for someone who looks like Jordynne because she's a freak of nature. She's so strong and powerful, and she's also attractive too. So it's kind of catch-22. It's like the Jade Cargill thing. It's like Bianca at some points. Like when you're that strong, you know, and you look like the way you do, it's very tough to be relatable to people, and they're going to struggle with that, I think, on the main roster with Jordynne, because she also doesn't have the best ability yet on the mic. She can work on that, she is, but I don't know. Feels like they're kind of setting her up to fail a little bit when it comes to the main roster with kind of how they're building her now in NXT, losing a lot of these feuds instead of kind of building her up and then having her maybe lose on the way out, you know, once or twice. I don't know, but that's my opinion, and that's going to wrap it up for the NXT recap for tonight. Back again tomorrow, AEW Dynamite on the docket. Excited to see how they follow up All In. It was a good show. It was a great show. So we'll see what they do with that. Also, don't forget, over to our TikTok, Side Hustle Pod 216. Catch mine and Double A's top 10 female wrestlers of all time. Tomorrow, of course, Wednesday, we'll drop the top 10 male pro wrestlers of all time. Our lists are out. Also, you can catch our top 10 wrestling theme songs of all time, too. Excited to share those lists with you. And don't forget, new episode of the podcast coming up this Friday. So tune in for that. A lot to break down together after this crazy week in pro wrestling. We'll have that for you as well. In the meantime, don't forget to give a like, subscribe, tell your friends, let them know about us. Happy to see you. Happy to see you again tomorrow night as we look over AEW Dynamite on the first show after All In. Until then, have a great night.